I'm Tellman, and this is a pink elephant standing next to 5 monkeys and a banana on a pole. And I'm going to show you how these animals are directly related to one of the absolute worst days of my entire life. A day when I had to fire my wife, my sister, my childhood friend, my brother-in-law, and about 15 other people I cared deeply about. But even beyond all of that, this is how I lost almost everything. My company, my house, everything in the middle of winter with a baby on the way. And if you pay close attention in this 3-minute story, I'm going to show you exactly why the monkeys can predict almost exactly how much money to ignore the banana on the pole. Then the scientists did something different. They took one monkey out of the room and sent in a new monkey who had no idea about the cold water. The new monkey went straight for the banana, only to be pulled off the pole and roughed up by the other monkeys. Eventually, the new monkey learned not to go for the banana, but not because of the cold water, because of the other monkeys. Soon they replaced another monkey and another until none of the original monkeys were left. However, the group would still attack any monkey who tried to eat the banana or even got near that pole. The amazing thing is, none of the monkeys even knew about the cold water. Nobody could have told them what would happen if they climbed that pole. All they knew is the group was against it, so none of them were willing to try it. And so we learned a valuable lesson about social habits and rules in this experiment. Sometimes they exist to hold you back, and for no good reason. And the moral of the story is that habits are more powerful than reason. And it's as if we're finding out right now that habits are a crucial force in your daily life. Habits almost have a life of their own. About half of your day is made up of habitual behaviors. You don't have to think about driving, tying your shoes, or making breakfast. If you did, your life would be incredibly complicated. Good habits are useful because they make complicated things easy. The habits you have determine how you act every single day. They determine your health, your wealth, your relationships, and your future. This is a presentation about those habits. We're just now learning that habits are the most powerful factor in a person's life. With the right ones, ordinary people like you and me can make millions of dollars. And we can stay happy. We can enjoy life and we can thrive. However, with the wrong habits, life can be a living hell. Addiction and compulsive behavior are 2 examples of ways habits can quickly turn into nightmares. Even the strongest, the smartest, the wealthiest person on earth can be ruined by something as simple as a few bad habits. This gets to the roots of success and failure in the human mind. I've seen it time and time again. When people take responsibility for the shadowy forces I will reveal, they prosper. When they pretend they're immune, they fail. As you'll see, I know from personal experience. And when I tell you the story about my bad day and why I had to fire my entire team, you'll realize that I learned this all the hard way, and I'm incredibly lucky to still be here. Before I tell you that story, though, I need to explain the pink elephant. If I say stop thinking about a pink elephant, what do you think of first? Old Pinky here, right? So this is called the pink elephant syndrome, and it works with all kinds of thoughts, not just pink elephants. Imagine you're a smoker, for example, and I told you just stop thinking about smoking cigarettes. Or do you think that would help you, or do you think it would hurt you? Right? Chances are it wouldn't make quitting any easier. This happens because of the way human beings are wired. We can't easily follow directions if the directions are phrased in a negative way. If you tell a kid to stop running, chances are they'll run around even more. But if a kid is running and you say, please walk, then you'll probably have better luck. This might all seem obvious, but believe me, that this is one of the most powerful secrets I've ever discovered, and knowing how to avoid the pink elephant syndrome can save you from hundreds of terrible outcomes, including financial disaster. Now, How many times have you told yourself things like, I've got to stop spending so much money on X, Y, and Z? Or maybe, I've got to stop staying up so late. As a hypnotherapist, I've helped people lose weight. I've helped them quit smoking, make exponentially more money, and overcome fears. And the reason I've been able to work real miracles for people is because I learned about the power of habit and the danger of the pink elephant syndrome. When people use hypnosis to give people new habits, and when I get them to start sidestepping pink elephant thoughts, the results are amazing. Now, it's simple stuff, but it built my reputation as a transformative hypnotherapist. However, it took me almost destroying my own life to realize that my own toxic habits were out of control. Here's what happened. In 2005, I got my start online. I'd been working as a hypnotherapist for years, but I realized that I couldn't see enough clients or charge enough money to escape my six-figure debt. So I developed a set of new habits, including email list building, and that pulled me out of a bad situation. I built a team of people who are better than me at crucial aspects of my business, and my income doubled and doubled and doubled again until I was making over $100,000 per month. Now, for the next few years, those few good habits I learned made me an absolute fortune. I bought this house. I got married on Sir Richard Branson's private Necker Island with the celebrity ring bearer you might recognize, and life was a dream. Unfortunately, it started to turn into a nightmare because I wasn't paying attention to my habits. There were just a few things that I was doing wrong, and that's a huge takeaway for you. It doesn't take something like a gambling addiction or shopaholism to keep you stuck. Sometimes the habits are as simple as spending too much time on the wrong things. And I had about 5 bad habits that were poisoning my life. I was robbing myself of money and destroying my future, and I didn't even see it until it was too late. The day my company ran out of money was my first real wake-up call, because back in December of 2010, my company saw its worst month ever. We hobbled along until August of 2011 when finally I simply couldn't afford to pay my own family and friends. In one day, I had to fire my wife. I had to fire my sister, my brother-in-law, 15 other people that I cared very deeply for because of my toxic money habits in my business. I felt like trash. I knew I was causing them hassle, hardship, and pain, but I couldn't stop it, and I didn't know what to do. And since I had no company anymore other than myself, I had lots of time to feel bad about the cards life dealt me. I tried to use some of that time to reflect on what went wrong, to figure out where I messed everything up when everything had been going so well, and all of a sudden it hit me. It was as if my past self had reached out through time and smacked me in the head. There were things I was doing and thinking every single day that were keeping me from success. Not only were bad habits ruining my life, I stopped trying to develop new success habits to drive out the old toxic ones. I knew I had to change, and the first thing I did was go back to my roots in hypnosis. I'd helped so many people make mindset shifts like I needed. I knew I could do the same for myself. All I needed to figure out was which habits to start with. I mentioned before that about 50% of your day is made up of habitual behaviors. But do you know what happens when you add new habits? Do you think you spend more time in habit mode or the same amount of time? If you guess the same amount of time, you're right. But since you have new habits, you suddenly have less time for old toxic habits. Think about it like pouring water into a cup full of oil. The water comes in and then spills the oil out the top. You could spend a day long trying to turn that oil into water, which is what it's like trying to get rid of a bad habit. Or you can just pour in new habits that replace the old. So I started interviewing millionaires. Each time I'd interview a millionaire, I'd ask tons of questions and pick out their juiciest habits one by one. 6 months later, I had 12 habits distilled from the brains of 12 millionaires and billionaires that I could hypnotically install in my own mind. My favorite part about all of this is that it didn't matter what my bad habits were. It didn't beat myself up about them, and neither should you. We're wired to adopt habits, and sometimes we get bad ones. It's not your fault. And some habits that affect you aren't even yours. If you think back to the monkeys and the banana, just think about the last time someone came between you and your dream. Some of us are programmed with habits that prevent others from succeeding. Yet, keep it in mind that none of this is intentional. I didn't get mad at anyone I know for holding me back or limiting me, any more than I let myself stay mad at myself for failing. Because as soon as I used all 12 habits, I immediately started changing. In less than a year, I took my model from my old hypnosis practice and turbocharged it into one of the first 7-figure hypnosis practices on earth. Now, you've probably already picked up some of this, but there's a big lie you've been fed about creating and enjoying new wealth. It starts with the idea that you need to consciously do something new to change. It could be with real estate or stocks. It could be a diet you need to use willpower in order to stick to. No matter what, it's basically asking you to stop thinking about a pink elephant. The truth is, you can exploit a very simple fact about your own subconscious mind to hack your habits and develop new success habits to replace any bad money habits you might struggle with right now. That's what I help people do. I give people the habits you need to turn into a wealthier version of yourself. No struggle, no shaming yourself, just results. And a lifestyle you can be proud of. And the crazy part about